Good morning, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world. You've tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show, and we're going to start this off the same way we always do. First and foremost, I'm your host, Elliot Pierre, and here's some gratitude. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know that you could be doing a million other things with your time, so the fact that you're spending with us truly does mean the world to me. On that note,
Tanner, hit him with the intro.
How's she cutting me, loves? You're listening to the Mac City Morning Show.
all right, that was something new. I liked it. I'm not going to introduce my guests as per usual. They introduce themselves. You got a sneak peek at them right there, shouting out Tanner with the intro. But on that note, my man, please introduce yourself to the world. Tell them who you are and what you're about.
You know, when I watch this show, Elliot, when I see you do it, I'm like, oh, he looks so cool when he does it. So I wanted to do it. I'm Dennis. I'm the owner of Brand Connect, an events and marketing company up here in Fort McMurray. And it's a pleasure to be on your show today, man.
Thanks, Dennis. I appreciate you being here. For the people at home who don't know, myself and Dennis have known each other for quite a few years now. We work together on time to time on different projects.
Yeah.
We like to chat in the barbershop or maybe at a bar when we bump into each other.
You know, speaking of the barbershop,
Yeah.
so, before I came, I knew, you got some cameras up in here. So I went and saw Ali and the boys at Thickwood.
Yeah,
And, I love that place. I
Yeah.
have to say the culture there is so good.
Yeah.
When we were there the last week when I saw you, you look around, you see young kids, you see older gentlemen, ladies, men, and it's just, he's creating such a great atmosphere where, I love the pictures he does of the kids on the wall so they can see themselves like
That's right.
grow. Like even myself, like I started going to see Ali like 30 pounds ago,
Yeah.
and I've watched myself grow over the years too, right? So,
Yeah.
but big shout out to the boys at the barbershop because, yeah, I just love what they're doing up there.
Yeah, no, Thickwood Barbershop, it's one of those things prior to going to Ali, and I grew up here, I would just bounce around to wherever, right? Whatever was closer to where I was living. But yeah, the environment that they've created there is like what you see on television or in the movies of what a barbershop is. Just like laughing,
Yeah.
joking, like a real family type environment. It's a good time, man.
And the community involvement for them, like around Christmas they do the toy drives for Santa's Anonymous. Ali called me one day and said, "Hey Dennis, I want to raise some money for the young lady in our community that had the brain surgery later there." He's like, "Can you bring your barbecue and come do a barbecue?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Sure, man, why
Yeah,
not?"
he's always
And
giving back.
yeah, and like it's just so selfless with him. So
Yeah.
round of applause to
Yeah.
Ali and the boys
And
at
the
Thickwood
boys,
there.
that's it.
And go up there and get a cut. It's nice.
I know. Like they hooked me up with my beard. Now that I shave my head, I'm there every week, hanging out with Ali and the boys, chatting. It's a good environment, and yeah, he gives back to like, it's endless. The Boys and Girls Club, the dog shelter, like everything. He's just constantly doing events and raising money for people.
Anybody
so-
who's nice to him.
yeah, that's
He's
it.
just a giving man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Ali and the boys, man, they go above and beyond.
They really do.
So let's hear about yourself. I want to talk about some of these events. I know you have them coming up. I like going to your events. I've been to a number of them. So what's up with Dennis and the company for this upcoming summer?
What is up? Well, let's start. 2019, I had no security of a nice oil sands job.
Yeah.
2020 took the big step of starting my own events company.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no doubt.
We were down in Nicaragua with a friend of mine in February, about to come back, and I was like, well, this is going to be a great year. Like, let's go kill this. And because we had previously done the Rib Fest down at the Snai with Trooper and stuff, and
Right.
I've had some good golf tournaments over the years. But yeah, the pandemic was a big scare, and I was like, Mom, I think I messed up. But it actually worked out pretty well. I was on a couple committees on some COVID teams, so our company, Brand Connect, or my company, to say, and we were actually able to develop the first contactless golf tournament. And
Okay.
I was able to share it with a bunch of groups and nonprofits across Canada, and they got to use it. I was on the old CBC there and having some
Nice.
fun with it. And so we were able to do a full summer, even though we're in a pandemic, of still helping groups and organizations, still doing our event, which is a big networking golf tournament.
Right.
And yeah, and then also with the Rib Fest too, it's the same thing. They called me, went down to Burlington, we did a pilot event for a drive-through Rib Fest.
Right.
And it works. So I said, well, let's go to Alberta, let's have some fun. And we ended up doing 14 Rib Fest across Alberta last year. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. And we're geared up for this year, ready to rock.
So we're doing Rib Fest again this year then.
Yeah. So what we're going to try and do this year, just because unfortunately, it's not looking like we're going to have the big party down at the Snai with the bands and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
we are going to start off with a little YMM kickoff rib fest in June.
Okay.
It's going to be a fun event with the drive-through because knowing now that what we're dealing with,
Right.
we've obviously have to keep creating value for everyone who's coming to it. The first time it was like, hey, we've been in our house for 4 months, like just give us some food, and it was great because people came out and they loved it. But now like we've done a bunch of different kind of drive-through events. People have been back out in the community, so to create that extra value, we're like, how can we keep people entertained in that 4 to 5 minute window we have? So we have some pretty cool stuff planned.
Okay.
And also, for the people attending the event, like we want to make sure that they're smiling, having fun, and also leaving with not just delicious food, but like saying that was a lot of fun. So,
Yeah, no doubt.
so
I'm
we got some
excited.
stuff.
I'm excited. Like I'm excited about the food. I love ribs,
Yeah.
and so like that's good. But I've heard some rumors about some of the stuff that you're going to be doing just to entertain me while I'm in the lineup waiting, and yeah, I'm excited.
Well, I will say a little sneak peek is you're really going to enjoy Ribfest Radio.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a thing we're working on, and it's something you're going to tune into your car, and it's you're gonna be entertained. Let's
There
just
you
say
go.
that.
Now speaking about radios, I'm upstairs trying to meditate,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden I just hear doof 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 doof, and I'm like, I know that beat. That's Annie Up.
Yeah.
You were bumping when you pulled up to the house today.
So I won't keep my age a secret. The grade's given away anyways. But I was born in '84.
Right.
So by the time I was into music was that like mid '90s, early 2000s, which I still think is the best time for like R&B hip hop.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's great. I was actually working out in Mackay, and I rolled out to site, and I had like Lords of the Underground blast and Chief Rocka, and I get out of the car, and the actual chief was there, Chief Jim Boucher, and he's
Yeah.
like, your Toronto showing.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
That's hilarious.
So, but actually, April marks my anniversary of moving to Fort McMurray.
Okay.
So I got a pretty good country playlist now. It's been 9 years.
9
So,
years in Fort Mac.
I
Time
love it.
flies, man.
Yeah, it really does, and the changes the city's gone through, and to be part of a lot of it has just been incredible. So
Yeah. No
Well, when I
doubt.
moved here, there was still lights on the highway.
That's yeah.
If there was an accident, you didn't go to work that day because you couldn't get out to site. You're like,
That's
yeah,
right.
let's stay home. So
Yeah. 10 years ago, it was very different as far as the highways were concerned. You didn't have overpasses, like you said. Like you still had lights,
Yeah.
and it was so bad. Like I used to live up in Thickwood, and the company that I was working for at the time, their office was in Gregoire, and it would take me hours, not 1 hour, hours to get to and from work. So it was so bad. I just bought a house in Beacon Hill. I was like, you know what? I've had enough. I'm moving across the bridge. But that's why I lived, and I love Beacon Hill. Oh my gosh, I loved living there. But yeah, the traffic was so bad, I literally had to buy a new home.
Yeah, and then even just with the developments, like when I think back to Fort McMurray when I first moved, well, actually when I first flew out here for my interview,
Yeah.
I was living in Ontario, working for the Health Foundation in my hometown, and I came up to Mac Island for an interview,
Mhm.
and I'm ready to picture like a general store and a lamppost, like what's Fort McMurray,
Right.
and I get here and they bring me to Mac Island. That's where my interview was, and that was my first position up here. Was at Mac Island as an event coordinator.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like this place, and the facility blew me away. I was like, this is a dream. Like this
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
But then like when I got to know the city, I was like, okay, there's some amenities here. And now you look at the city, like the quality of schools here, the quality of like that Synchro Athletic Park. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, so just the things you see and like the continued improvement in this city just blows me away.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm happy.
A lot of growth. I got to give a shout out, and like I don't know, some people might have different opinions. I'm gonna give a shout out to our old mayor, Melissa Blake.
Melissa Blake. Yeah.
Melissa Blake, like I gotta say, she made Fort McMurray gorgeous. Like there was a real big effort when she was the mayor
Yeah.
for communities in bloom, and like to like make it look visually appealing. From like the flower pots you see on the highway to like the signs that you see, Christmas lights. Like she really pushed that, and it's continued. Like it's her legacy. I really do feel that Fort McMurray, like when it's not covered in snow, but I love when it's covered in snow. Favorite season is winter for me.
For 8 months
But
of it.
yeah, but in the summertime, like it's a beautiful city to like walk around and drive around. So big shout out to Melissa Blake for pushing that.
Blake, yeah.
Yeah.
When I moved here, there was some great people in positions in the city. Like Melissa Blake was mayor. Actually, one of my first events was Mike Allen's victory party when he became MLA.
Oh, okay.
I got to work closely with Tim Reed. Remember Tim Reed? What
Yeah,
a great
yeah,
guy
yeah.
he was. You know, he did a lot for that Mac Allen down there too.
Yeah,
So
there's been a lot of people that have really pushed the needle for Fort McMurray over the years, and the councilors and the mayors now.
Yeah.
You know, they're still doing their job, still making a difference. Just wanted to give a shout out because it's one thing growing up in this community. It wasn't always that, like
right.
it, but that I don't know what you'd want to call it, council or administration with her at the helm, really, really made Fort McMurray like beautiful, in my opinion, and it's only my opinion. So, big shout out to Melissa Blake. Now you've been here for 9 years now.
Yeah.
Now, why have you stayed?
Oh wow, where do I start? So, the first thing that so leaving the Toronto area, that's where I went to school and kind of grew up ish, and then also most of my high school years in Peterborough, Ontario, which is a beautiful little town,
Yeah.
cottage country. But the one thing I loved about Toronto was the diversity,
Mm-hmm.
and I got here thinking, not thinking I didn't know what to expect, and like seeing how diverse this city is. Like I'm a guy who loves shawarma. And it's like, I'm like, where am I moving? Like, is there shawarma? And that was like my first question.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
there's shawarma.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love all the culture from my hometown, like from Toronto area. And
Right.
but when I got here, it was still there.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing was, and I think maybe I was pretty lucky, starting off at McDonald Park, because seeing all the community events there and actually realizing how strong a community Fort McMurray is,
Right.
is what sold me. I was here for less than a year when I was like, oh, this is home. I was like, sweet. And I actually had some family up here at the time, so it just made sense. And over the years, like you've seen the change in the community too. It was a very and I'm not trying to like be like rude or anything like that, but it was very kind of transient and very
100%.
people spitting on the sidewalk stuff. And I'm like, guys, come on. But I feel like after the fires, the people that came back were people who wanted to be here, and you kind of saw that ownership of the city, and you saw the change. And ever since then, like and that's we can talk about that experience for hours and
Yeah.
tear up and
Yeah.
all those things. But that's when I noticed, like, because I almost had one foot at the door around that time. And then when everyone came back and you saw the people that were here were really like invest in the community, they wanted to be here, they wanted to raise their families here. They're bragging about being from Fort McMurray. And I was like, you know what? So that change kind of really. That's when I always had my 1 year plan. But then
Right.
by after that, I was like, no, this is home.
It's home. There you go. Yeah, there was something very visual that happened after the fire, outside of like the trees being twigs. Back in the before the fire, when you looked in the back of people's trucks, there was two things that you saw. You saw either Calvin and Hobbes, Calvin taking a pee on the Ford symbol as the
Yeah.
decal. That was second place. But first place was something regarding Newfoundland, and it was like the rock, or this is where I'm from, or the flag, or whatnot. And then the fire happened, and all you see now is Fort Mac Strong.
We're Max Strong.
That's all you see is decals right now.
Well, you still see the Calvin, but
Yeah, Calvin is still second place. He'll never disappear. It's pretty funny too, I gotta admit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't see the East Coast stuff as much. It's like, no, I'm here. I'm Fort Mac, which, yeah, they're like the level of pride definitely like shot up after the fire for sure.
Yeah, and you did see it too when you're touring down to other cities, even during the evacuation. We were in Edmonton. Everyone's like, "We're from Fort McMurray," and
Yeah,
then like the love from all the other communities was just overwhelming. But yeah, coming back, you did see the visual change. But
yeah.
yeah, to answer your question, like it was the community that's kept me here.
Okay.
Like I still like I'm a huge Raptors fan, Leafs fan. It's opening day for the Jays. Like
Yeah.
I'm a big sports guy, so I do
Yeah.
miss that. That's the one thing I do miss from home.
Yeah.
But being up here, like I still got the community, I still got family, I still got friends. Like it's nice up here.
Speaking of the Raptors run, when they made the playoffs there, I'm pretty sure you went back to Toronto for some of that.
Oh, I might have been there when that ball bounced around the rim and went absolutely nuts. Yeah.
What was that like? I know you went there, obviously. So what was that like being at those type of games, man?
You know what? So me and my friends have been taking hold because we got in when they were horrible. So it's like we just kind of were grandfathered in. But we went to the games, and when you were outside the stadium, it just like it was. You could like the people. You're like, this is millions of people. Like it's insane.
Right.
But we were in there, and when the shots are going up and the whole place is dead silent, and all of a sudden it goes in and just the eruption is vibrating. Like
That's right.
That for me, it battled. I was there for the bat flip with Jose, so
Okay.
with Baptista there. So I was like, it was like one of those like earth shattering moments, and I was like, oh my goodness. But for the actual Kawhi shot, my girlfriend and I were in the airport at the time.
Okay.
And she's on the plane, like, Dennis, the plane's going to leave. I'm like, not a chance.
Yeah.
I'm not missing this. And so I had to like literally hold up a whole flight.
Yeah.
I was like, there's 2 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
And so she's like, you are ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, well,
It is what
I'm
it
a fan,
is.
So, and
Yeah.
I've missed flights for way less.
Yeah, no, I remember when you and me were, I don't know where we were hanging out somewhere here in town. And then we had something scheduled for like a day or two after, and you were just like, yeah, I got to cancel. I'm going to Toronto. So on that note, though, Tanner has a segment called the Mac City Minute. You've watched the show once or twice. Best of luck to you, Tanner. Hit him with the Mac City Minute.
Question number 1. What is your dream event to throw in Fort McMurray?
My dream event to throw. Well, you know what? My dream right now is just to high five someone. I miss that social interaction. But I think what I'd like to do is it's not going to be so much an event as an idea that I have. I'd like to, find a place, even like Abraham's Landing area, where we can actually develop a parkish kind of feel that has a built-in amphitheater stage, like a stage that's always there, that our community can use. So whether it's for the nonprofits or organizations, but that we can also create, throughout the summer, like a weekly concert series where people go bring their lawn chairs, they can sit free to the community and just come. We do this back home, and like, your levels of music is like we had like Blue Rodeo was a big one, and last time I went with my mom, we went and saw Gowan, like You're a Strange Animal,
Yeah.
And but like it was a Peter Royal Music Festival, and every week, every Wednesday and Saturday, it was just a free concert. Some cover bands. It wasn't always like big bands, but it was just something that community does, and we have such beautiful summers up here. Like, why not have that?
Mm-hmm.
And like I just don't feel like we have that space yet. And like and right in Abraham's Landing between Timberlane and Thickwood. But my dream would be to have like a weekly free community event that we can do for our city here. We're blessed with some awesome shows and entertainment up here. I was on Nickelback last year. Like, it was awesome. Well, 2 years ago, so now it is. But it was amazing.
Yeah.
But like just like something that you can look forward to every week, and people can bring their family, their kids, and just go do, and just keep creating that Fort McMurray atmosphere that we're building up here. So
There you go.
culture, I should say.
Question number 2. What is your most memorable rib moment?
My most memorable rib moment. Well, let's see. So it would be from Rib Fest. We had been working around the clock to pull off the first one we did down at Sny Point Park, and I said, you know what? I'm exhausted. I'm gonna grab some food because I didn't have any ribs yet, and I went and grabbed some ribs, and I was gonna watch Trooper.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like my second rack of ribs when I realized that they played Here for a Good Time 3 times. It was in their opening set, it was their encore, and it was their third encore. And I was like, if it works, it works.
That's right. Give the people what they want.
So, but that first event down at Sny Point Park, it was, I think, the second highest attended event in McMurray since the Kiss concert, which was massive.
Right.
Seeing people from Edmonton up here, our friend Jesso, his parents come up. They're like, oh, we saw Trooper 30 years ago when we first met, and here we are. We drove from Edmonton. And I was like, so to create that event was pretty fun.
There you go.
Question number 3. What is your favorite event you attended in your youth?
In my youth, well, so this kind of ties back to how I got into event planning in the first place. So it was.
No, you got to fix it.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
Okay, I think.
Do we need some help?
No, I think,
No, I think you got it. There we go. Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew I was going to do something.
Yeah, that's all right.
So it was after college. Me and buddies, we had this house in Peterborough, 540 Stewart Street, and we're looking for jobs in our field. We're not getting them, so we're all kind of working for a flood and fire restoration company, doing our thing, and it was getting kind of near the end of the month. Things are kind of tight. We want to go have some fun. We have no real money, and we're like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, boys, I got this. So we threw a themed keg party. It was called the Graffiti Get Down, and everyone who came in got a white T-shirt and a Sharpie marker.
Nice.
And we made enough money not only to pay our rent that month, but live pretty good for a few weeks. So then we continued. I continued to throw a themed keg party once a month for almost a year.
Nice.
That house, by the time you could leave a bar and be like, hey, take me to 540. You didn't even say the street, and that's how you got here. Or they knew where you were going. But one morning, we were kind of doing a little cleanup, and I was talking to the girl I was dating at the time, and she's like, Dennis, so what are you going to do with your life? Like, you just can't party. I'm like, you know what? So I went back to school for event management as a mature student at George Brown College in Toronto, and it was great. So
Yeah.
one thing led to another, and next thing you know, here I am in Fort McMurray.
Plan parties.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, events, there's so much more to them. Like, it's not
Oh,
just
yeah.
the part, like the part as a mature student. So, I was 25. Everyone in my class was 18, 19 who wanted to be like a wedding planner.
Mhm.
But when I got to get to know the instructors, they were kind of similar age. They're like, do you want to come to events? Do you want to learn about sponsorship? Do you want to learn about, actually the impact and the value of like doing events?
Mhm.
And I was sold, and that was it. So,
That's awesome, man.
Question number 4. What is your favorite place to get shawarma in town?
you know what? Cedars Bakery is kind of dear to my heart. It's also like an arm length from my house, so I can just roll in there. But they do it right, the pickled cabbage, all the fixings that you need. I had a couple spots back home, but yeah, Cedars Bakery, I like their food. Not just the shawarma, but they have a great variety of just if you like that Middle Eastern kind of food, it's good,
Yeah.
quality food too.
Yeah, they knock it out the park.
But I did hear from Ali there was a new place in town. I forget what it's called, but I got to go check it
It's
out.
downtown. I don't know the name of it either. I'm embarrassed. It's on Franklin Ave, like across from the municipal building. Me and Ali sat down. We had some when we were all there. My lord, it was
Yeah.
delicious.
And your final question, is there any sneak peeks you could tell the viewers about upcoming events people won't know?
Uh, yes. So, not only do we do the Ribfest events and other like different marketing campaigns and things like that, but I host a couple of golf tournaments. My baby is the Fort McMurray Toolbox Open. It's called the Toolbox Open, not to do with a toolbox, but an actual toolbox talk.
Right.
Because after the fire, our office was closed for being cleaned, and my boss was like, we're gonna have our toolbox talk. I was like, well, there's free golf from Mac Island, and he's like, seriously? I'm like, man, we need this. So it was supposed to be 8 of us, ended up being 24 of us. Someone yelled out, everyone put in $100, winner takes it, or winning team takes it. And my boss was like, we're not gambling on this. Unless we give half to charity. And we're like, done. So we had a great day at Mac Island. Raced them. I think they gave it to the SVCA. I can't remember exactly the details. Year my buddy calls me and says, so when's the toolbox open? I'm like, you know what? I can actually do this. I would just go for this. Like, you guys in? And it's grown now, and now it's a sold out 144 person tournament. But this year, with one of our sponsors, 4G Motorsports, we're actually giving away a quad,
Nice.
Can-Am quad. So they're like, it's not like a hole in one for a quad. Like someone in the tournament, just leave them with a quad.
That's
So
awesome.
that's a pretty cool thing for 4G Motorsports to do, and it's also pretty fun for everyone who's attending the event.
There you go.
And those have been your 5 questions.
Awesome, thanks.
Now, before we jump back into it, what are we looking at for time, Tanner?
We are at 22.
We're done.
We're done.
We're finished, man. So you're gonna come back again and again, though. This
Yeah.
is gonna be a reoccurring thing. You coming back to the show. We're over the time, but I want to go over the time just a little bit. People at home, sorry, because you were bumping when we came in. I don't want your top 5. That's gonna take too long. Let me hear your top 3 rappers.
Top 3 rappers. Okay. Well, if if you get a chance, just go listen to the track "Old Thing Back" by Notorious B.I.G., Ja Rule's, and there are a couple other artists. That track will get you just old thing back. You'll get going with it.
Okay.
Actually, a friend of mine got me hooked on it again. I'd heard it in years. She's like, oh, like she'd been playing it. I was like, oh, sweet, thanks. So I do like Biggie. Big L. I do.
Okay.
Big L fan, man. It's
Wow, going way back. Nice. Okay.
yeah. And like Eazy-E, Jay-Z, like I guess, and it's a generation, that genre there.
That's right.
But I was raised on classic rock, so depending on my mood, anything next time I pull up, it could be something completely different.
Correct.
It could be musicals like Fiddler on the Roof. Like,
Yeah.
If I was a
Yeah.
rich man, you just never know. So
That's awesome. Okay, there's your top 3. All right, Dennis, thank you for coming in today. But before we cut you loose today, shameless plug. Please tell everybody at home once again who you are, what you're about, how they can support your organization.
So my name is Dennis Nephin. I have my company here, Brand Connect. We're on Facebook and things like that. If you ever want to know about any of the Rib Fests, if you have any ideas, input, you can always email us events@brandconnect.me. Or if you want to like register for tournaments, whatever. Or if you're a company who wants to get out there, just a little bit about Brand Connect.
Yeah.
So not only do we do the events, I'm currently working with a few businesses in town to do marketing plans for them. I have a company in town here who wants to, figure out how to get their staff more involved through volunteering and stuff like that. I just did a sales seminar for a company, just simple, like sales techniques, how to do an elevator pitch, like just quick little things. So
Right.
we do a lot of things, but the one thing that I like to do is when I work with a company is figure out where we can put them to actually get the value for their financial commitments and things like that. So for a great example, at the Toolbox Open, one of the sponsors was Foresight Geomatics. They're a survey company. And I'm talking to Dan, and he's like, yeah, we'd love to help out. And I was like, it was going to be the longest drive. And I was like, let's not do the whole, sign with your thing. So they actually brought their survey equipment and a drone and all their stuff. So one, they're actually showing what they do. It's not just foresight. And for the golfers, there's a screen there, and they're watching their shot on a screen, how far it's going down to the millimeter. They've never seen anything like that before. Like, this is so cool. And it was just a great synergy, and it was like those kind of things, right? And that's when, whether it's through an event or whether it's through something you want to host yourself as a company and get connected with your staff, working with companies and actually showcasing what they do, their services, things like that. So, but yeah, so Brand Connect, I do love the events. That's my passion.
Right.
And you can always just reach out on Facebook or email us at events@brandconnect.me, and we can answer any questions. And if you want to host an event, you just want some help, I have no problem just like, hey, here, I'll sit down with you and talk and just let you know how to get started.
There you go. Love it. Well, Dennis, you'll be back again. I have no doubt about that.
But thank you.
Oh.
I had a really great time today. The croissants,
man.
I'm going to get into those. They smell great. Tanner was cooking up a storm here.
Killing me.
And I had a lot of fun. And I have to say, I watch your show. I think what you're doing is incredible.
Thanks, man.
And
appreciate it.
And I'm excited to see what else you guys have coming up.
Awesome. Well, we've got some banger guests coming up, and I know you're going to be back again because you and me can talk for hours, and we will after the cameras turn off too. So, on that note, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world, thank you very much for tuning in. This has been the Mac City Morning Show. I've been your host, Elliot Pierre. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, you're having a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
I said this. That's another Mac City Morning Show done.
It's so ballistic!
Talk about quenching your ugly thirst.